Happy President's Day and welcome to iDriveSoCal, the podcast all about mobility from the automotive capital of the United States, Southern California. I'm Tom Smith. Here's what's happening in mobility news. LAX is moving towards spending $4.5 billion to make it easier for travelers to get in and out of the airport. That's billion with a capital B. The Los Angeles World Airport Board of Commissioners voted to move forward with the spend earlier this week. The plan calls for a group of contractors to design, construct, and operate a people mover. I really wish we could afford the rights to cue the monorail song from the 4th season of The Simpsons right here. The deal isn't completely done yet, as there's a convoluted approval process ripe for lots of political favors to be baked into the final mess. It's supposed to be completed by 2023, leaving a comfy 5 years for over-budget excuses and expenditures before we actually need it for the Olympics in 2028. As LA's mayor, Eric Garcetti, preps for a White House run, he released a statement giving the forward motion of the plan his full support. As they say, follow the money, folks. Just follow that money. While LA gets ready to cough up billions for an old-school monorail, our neighbors in Phoenix are set to experience the reality of driverless transportation. Arizona recently gave Waymo official status to launch a service that will compete with Uber and Lyft, but without drivers. Waymo, Google's autonomous driving division, has been testing the technology since 2009. They've covered more than 4 million driverless miles in reality and more than 2.5 billion virtually. By the end of the year, Phoenix residents will be able to hail a Waymo driverless Chrysler Pacifica hybrid to take them around the city. And speaking of tech and mobility, an icon of Silicon Valley is putting the territory in his rearview mirror. PayPal founder, early investor in Facebook, and President Trump supporter, Peter Thiel, is said to be moving to Los Angeles. The primary reason for his Valley departure is its super left-leaning political views. Hey, Pete, you seem really smart and well-informed, but LA ain't exactly conservative. Nevertheless, the startup scene here welcomes you with open arms, and we'd love a podcast interview once you get settled in. Which brings us to another story about Thiel's fellow PayPal founder, Elon Musk, specifically the Roadster that he launched into orbit last week. Turns out the stunt so inspired one fan that he decided to create a website dedicated to tracking the vehicle. A young engineer named Ben Pearson created whereisroadster.com. The site projects the location of Starman and his Tesla within our solar system at any given time. The site is already ranking quite high with internet traffic. It's being monetized with banner advertising, and you can even purchase t-shirts and tchotchkes. This reminds me that I totally should have gotten an engineering degree. And that's what's happening in mobility news. Coming up this week on iDriveSoCal, we honor President's Day on Wednesday with a podcast from the Air Force One Pavilion at the Reagan Library. You don't want to miss this episode as we finally unravel the mysteries and learn the real truth behind all the super secret technology aboard the plane that carries the most powerful man in the world.
It technically flew 7 different presidents. President Reagan put the most mileage on it. I don't know what the exact number of that mileage is, but he definitely flew a great deal on this plane, much more so than any other president. This was the aircraft that took him to Germany for the famous tear down this wall speech. Anything that was classified, or I guess you'd call quote unquote secret, that was all removed prior to our obtaining the aircraft. There are no escape pods, there are no hidden guns or bombs or anything else that can be released from the aircraft, so there's nothing like that, and a lot of that are the fantasies in Hollywood that they portray in movies.
Obviously, I was joking about all that super secret tech, but we do get a really cool behind-the-scenes tour of the plane from John Laney, who manages the exhibit. And be sure to catch Friday's podcast when we sync up with Officer Simone Yarbrough of the California Highway Patrol. This time we're covering distracted driving. Officially, Distracted Driving Month isn't until April, but the knucklehead in front of me on the 110 who was texting last Tuesday inspired me to cover the story a bit early. This one's for you, pal. Thanks for almost causing an accident. Subscribe to the iDriveSoCal podcast and never miss an episode. And give us a like and follow on Twitter and Facebook. For iDriveSoCal, I'm Tom Smith. Thanks for listening.
This episode was engineered and edited by Micah Palmquist.